meeting you where you are. The meaning behind the slogan is that we meet the community where they are on their journey towards holistic health, a plant-based lifestyle, and veganism, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. We do this through people, food, events, and culture. Our 6 pillars are earth, eating, education, empowerment, enlightenment, and events. We are Black Veg Society.
We are live. Thank you for tuning in. Let me help you, a loved one or friend, find your vegan soul through food, people, events, and culture. It's December, so you already know what that means. New Year resolutions, planning, all of that type of stuff. Get ready for 2026. And the number one question I've been getting is no, not where do I get my protein? It's when is the vegan festival coming back? Okay, so today's discussion is vegan festivals in 2026 or not. And my special guest today is Adrienne, founder of Texas VegFest. How are you doing today, Adrienne?
Hi, thank you, Naijha, for having me on. Hello, everyone. Yay! It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. So, Adrienne, we've connected initially through Black Veg Fest. I met you when they first launched in year 1 years ago, that nice rainy day, and everyone still came out. It was beautiful. And then now we're reconnecting through the Federation of Vegan Festivals. And we'll get into why that's important later on. But please tell us about yourself. What do you do and what's going on with you?
Okay, yes. So I'm Adrienne. I am in Austin, Texas. I do the Texas VegFest here. So in 2026, we will be celebrating our 11th year. So this past year, we just did 10th year, which is very exciting. So we happen the first or second weekend in April of every year. We are right here in the heart of the city, right off of the Colorado Lake Austin, Lady Bird Lake. It's pretty much right off the water there. In a giant park. We're a free public education event focusing on providing resources for health, environment, animal, benefits of a vegan plant-based diet. So that's pretty much what we do, and the entirety of our structure and our resources. We try to provide as much free resources as we can. We are centered in East Austin, which, if anybody knows the historic East Austin area, it is culturally mostly Hispanic and Black. And so we try to provide free resources in the area to some of the marginalized community in the Austin area. There's a lot of restructuring and gentrification in Austin, and we really try to keep with the heart of, the classic old school Austin events, and try to provide education to those who are a lot overlooked in the city. So that is what we try and do, and that's why we try to keep our event free.
I have to applaud you because 11 years, let me tell you something, 11 years, that is a long time to plan and organize a vegan festival, let alone any event or festival, but a vegan festival. Yes, you definitely have to get kudos and accolades for that. What has been the success over the years? Let's start pre-COVID, because we know post-COVID posed a lot of its own challenges and throughout the pandemic. But post-COVID, pre-COVID, can you talk about what the success of the Texas VegFest has been, and what have you been facing since the pandemic, and any challenges you're going through right now?
Yeah, so initially, the first year, we really didn't know, being the capital of Texas and in Austin, It's an event-centric city. South by Southwest, ACL, Street Festival. There's so many things that happen, and usually in springtime and early fall is the best weather. That's when a lot of events are happening. But there seemed to be a gap. There was no plant-based vegan event offered to anyone. And so we wanted to offer that and kind of fill that need within the city. And so it was very, we just didn't know initially, like, were we going to be accepted? What direction were we going to go in? More convention, more just kind of open festival. Is anyone going to show up? Are we going to be able to get the vendors and the nonprofits and the sponsors and anything that we need in order to be successful? Are we going to get the volunteers? So it was a lot of unknowns there in that first year. And then the day came, and we were expecting around 1,000, and we got about 3,500 people, which was an overwhelming success for us. And yes, yay. So it was a huge eye opener to the need that we were trying to address. People did want resources about health, environment, animal benefits of plant-based diets and focusing on veganism. People did want to have access to healthy food. They wanted to know where community gardens were. How could they access, local community? How could they support local community? So that was, I think, and has continued to be the biggest success for us, is the communal growth. For me, now going into the 11th year, it's kind of like a family reunion for me, where I'm getting to see people that have volunteers, even contractors, even the city parks department. I get to see those faces, and it's almost like a family reunion every year. And it almost comes together like glue with these individuals, because, as you know, planning an event can sometimes be very isolating. You're hidden behind a computer a lot, and you've got all these ideas, and you're trying to put them out there into the public that's digestible, for financial reasons, that is digestible for people just want to sign up, people want to support. And so it's a very arduous and sometimes lonely experience behind that keyboard. And then you start to get the gathering of the people. You get to see the volunteers, you get to see the vendors, you get to see the contractors and the city department. And it's like the big family reunion. Everyone comes together and makes it happen. And so there's a lot of community involved with that, especially with us being free, and especially with us focusing. We have a giant pavilion, and that is focused for our small businesses and nonprofits throughout the Central Texas and Texas area. And we can host 50, 60 small businesses and more, 50 to 60 small businesses and nonprofits underneath that pavilion. And that is the heart of the event. It's very communal. It's focusing on these nonprofits that are out there doing the hard work. Central Texas Pig Rescue, Austin Farm Sanctuary, Dreamtime Sanctuary. There are a whole bunch of sanctuaries and animal rehabilitations that, are doing a lot of the hard work in our community. And that is our chance to kind of uplift them. And that has grown so much in the last 11 years. It's something that I think a lot of people look forward to experiencing when they're there at the festival and supporting. So that communal aspect, just even that section alone, is one of the biggest things that I think have grown within the last 11 years.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Black, Indigenous, and people of color were really communal. So during that time when the pandemic, you weren't allowed to host large outdoor events or any outdoor events where many people gathered. It really was uncomfortable for many of us. Coming back from all of that into the celebratory and the openness and people getting together to get back into the festivals. What was that like? Because I know for the first year for us, one, we created a paid festival because again, we needed to raise funds and, everybody wanted to get paid. It really wasn't this whole thing like, oh, I'm just going to do this to contribute to the communities. Like I'm a speaker or I'm a DJ or what, I have to, get paid. It's been a rough 2 years. So, we had the paid model and, just trying to get assistance with running that and getting familiar with that whole thing was a challenge. What did you go through?
So unfortunately or fortunately, however you may look at it, prior to 2020 happening, we had a weather incident in 2019, which we had to cancel and move from one venue to another. And then the weather still hit, which was a complete nightmare. We had to, we tried to process through that weather event. That didn't go very well. And so we had to kind of like go to a smaller venue and do the event, which, prepared me psychologically, I guess, for, okay, this is what happens when you can't host the event, when you go through all the motions to make the event happen. And then a few days, weeks or so in advance, you have to cancel and pull the plug on an event because of a weather incident or something worse. And so that helped in 2019. It kind of gave me the mental framework of like, oh, God, this is what happens when something like this happens. And so when 2020 came around and the discussion of, the pandemic and the city trying to hold mitigation efforts and things like that, I do hand it a lot to the city parks department. They were extremely helpful. The city of Austin Parks Department has been nothing but helpful with us during both that weather incident and then the 2020 pandemic. Allowing us to be flexible, working with us, having that open communication with them. Now, our venue is a city venue, so that's why we go through the parks department for that. And so to have them, have that word from the city who is basically telling everybody who can what to do, how are they mitigating, what's happening throughout the city, to have them basically hold our hand through the process and guide us and be workable, refund fees when we might not have gotten refund fees and things of that nature, was extremely helpful and kind of saved us, financially, because we did plan up until March, and then we had to cancel in March 2020. And then we didn't come back until 2023, I think. And so we took a couple of years off because we wanted to we're, an open public event. We're free, although we have an outdoor venue, we are a food specific event. There's a lot of, hands-on activities and things like that. So we wanted to be extra sure, extra cautious that, we were taking all the precautions, that the city had their plan and efforts, and we were following them and their guidelines to come back. And that's the Parks Department. Unfortunately, when we came back in that year, after the pandemic, City Council, the health department, they got together and increased the food permits. It was pre-pandemic $100 for those food permits, and each vendor that's serving prepared food or beverages must have one. So it's about $100 for that. When we came back from the pandemic, they raised it to $280. And so that was a $180 jump from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. It's atrocious. It was awful. It was awful not only for us, but for the vendors in the community, because the VegFest is a really great event for a lot of people to kind of like step out of the normal day-to-day business routine of their restaurants, of their whatever they're doing, whatever business that they're holding. It's a good way to step out, show a large group of people, of thousands of people, what they're doing, what products they offer, and kind of uplift their business, and gets them through kind of like the rougher the summer months, because we're at spring, and then summer can be kind of rough because we've got 100+ degree temperatures here, and a lot of those businesses, except for the food businesses that are in trailers and are outside, it's a real struggle for them in the heat of the summer when no one wants to go outside in the heat. So the VegFest can help them get that that funding for a couple of months to help get them through that the summer lull. And so when the city was like, okay, welcome back from the pandemic, now everybody's got to be, pay $290 for that food permit. That hit everyone really hard, because everyone was struggling. Everyone was trying to figure out life after the pandemic, and here the city council and the health department were like, yeah, we basically we don't care. We're still going to charge everyone $280. And so in the years pre-pandemic, I'd go to the health department, 40, 50 food vendors, getting their permits and everything like that. First year after pandemic, I think we had 12. So that was an extreme drop. And, obviously the feedback was like, where's the food? And it's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Where is, I know, but I don't blame the food vendors for not signing up, because that's almost $300 extra that they have to pay on everything that they have to do in order to participate the event. So it was rough. It was rough right after coming out of the pandemic. So I would say that was the roughest part. And then trying to, convince the vendors of all caliber, that this would be a wise investment, because it is an investment of their time. It is an investment of their money and their staff to participate at a festival. And they have to look at every angle, possible. Like, how is this going to benefit us? Are we going to be safe? Are we going to be safe in this event? Are we going to be able to make the same amount as we would if we just stayed and at home doing the normal business procedure? Right, so that was, I think, the hardest part.
Yeah. Well, we got a question that came in. Shout out Michelle, who's actually secretary of the board of Black Veg Society, and that's my same question, Michelle. Who approved $280, knowing that the economy was still trying to get back on its feet, and food vendors, food service period, hit really hard, and we're still hit hard now. Now. So that was the city council.
It's the Austin Health Department and the city council got together, the city manager, all of that. It was a very dark time. So they got together and approved that. And then once we came back from the pandemic, that's and they do it fiscal year. So we start advertising for the event, August and September. We do start getting people to sign up in that time, and then in October they change it. So there are people who signed up in August and September who paid the $100 fee, and then people who signed up in October, boom, they're the ones who were charged $280. And we ate that, because we as organizers of the event, as just human beings coming out of the pandemic, we're like, we've already been charging $100 for these vendors who signed up. We can't in good conscience charge everyone else the rest of that. So we ate that money. Just so it's a hard decision, but but for community and just the circumstances in which they were, we just couldn't do that. We just couldn't do that to our community.
That's a lot. Here in Baltimore, we pay about the fee is $50, and that hasn't changed ever since we started the festivals. $50 has been consistent. So thank the Lord that hasn't increased, because it's been challenging to even get vegan vendors, food vendors to commit post-pandemic, and with a lot of services and businesses going out of business,
Yep.
it really is challenging. So I want to get to that point where, because your festival is in April, and April is right around the corner. What is going on now, and what do you need to make your 11th Texas VegFest a success? Because I already know, and I already seen it with the vendors. Even at our last festival, we didn't have a lot of food vendors. It was more juice vendors and food vendors, and people are just closing all the time, which poses the question, are we really ready for more vegan festivals in 2026? And how do we overcome these challenges with food businesses going out of business?
Yeah. So great question. Yes. And so obviously lots of learning lessons and adaptations have been made. One of the things that we did, pre-pandemic, we had, one or two offerings. So a sponsor level and a vendor booth level, 10 by 10 tent, tables and chairs pretty much was our offering, in the nonprofit table. Post-pandemic, we were like, how can we divide these spaces up so we could reduce the fee for vendors? Considering there's this $280 fee, how can we divide up the space? We can do half booths for $200. We can do just a table for small businesses for X amount of dollars. We can do a half table. So that's what we've done. We've basically tried to offer whatever little space, a 4-foot space, 8-foot space, 10 by 10 space, 5-foot by 5 space. So we have a lot of different options now. So even if you're a food vendor, and you're just cottage food businesses, I believe that's what they call it here in the state. I'm not sure if they call that everywhere else.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of opportunities for those small businesses and cottage food businesses to pay $100 and be at this festival where thousands and thousands of people can see their business and buy their product. Whereas pre-pandemic, we only offered, the table for the nonprofits and the booth for the vendors and the sponsors. Post-pandemic, we tried to break all of that down. We've divided our booths. You can buy a half booth. You can have a whole booth. You can have a whole table. You can have a half table. If you've got a little cart, we have a space for that little cart. So we tried to make as many options on as many price levels as possible, keeping in mind what can help us pay that overhead so we can keep the event free. And then that is not too high of a price point to where vendors of all kinds can take money back, from the event, because that's kind of the point for them to participate, is for them to make money. And so we had to kind of develop multiple levels of opportunities for all kinds of businesses. And then we provide a discount for sign up. So those are the things that we had to kind of maneuver and adjust post-pandemic. And then this year, finally, everyone's to kind of circle back to the the food permit. Everyone will be happy to know. One of the things that the state of Texas got right this summer is that they basically forced the city of Austin to follow the state rule and the state pricing points for the food permit. So effective October 1st of this year, 2025, that food permit went from $280 to $62. So for those, yes, clap and relief for everybody. So for those looking to participate as a food vendor here in Texas, and in Austin specifically at Texas VegFest, who have been like, oh, that food permit is insane. It is. And one of the things that the state of Texas got right over the summer is they basically mandated that the whole state follow their price point in food permits. And so there's over $200 savings for vendors, food vendors now. So if you were paying $280 last year for your food permit, it's only going to be $62 now. And so that's a huge thing. So that's a huge help for us, and it's a huge help for the vendors. And so when we look at the 2026 year, that is the biggest kind of benefit, that is the biggest help that we can offer everyone, especially food vendors, is you don't have to think about $280 anymore. It is what the state is mandating, which I think is the $62 fee.
That's a blessing. That is such a blessing. Yes.
It's like $220.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an incredible amount. It's an incredible amount for any business.
So you operate this festival for free, and your revenues coming in from the vendors and any sponsors is what kind of gets you to operate this. What is there any proceed that goes back to you to operate your organization or your business as a whole? I know with Black Veg Society, we operate many programs and projects throughout the year, so we're always trying to raise money and be creative with how we do it, and festivals is one of the many ways that we do that. So and the larger the festival, the more people it is, that formula of paid, and we talked about that in the Federation of Vegan Festivals, and I want to get to that next, how that's going to help, because I understand you had some challenges with fundraising and you had to cancel one of your fundraisers that was scheduled for this month, right?
That's right. So would have been scheduled for Sunday. Yeah. So we were looking to have a chili cook-off fundraiser event here in the city of Austin. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of support for that, and sounded good, sounded like something that people were really excited for, though that excitement didn't translate into what our main course of income was, which is basically signups from vendors. So as a free public education event, one of the ways that we make money is through vendor and sponsor signups. And so if we get vendor and sponsor signups, that helps pays for the tent, tables, chairs, some of the venue fees and costs and taxes. And so the more vendors that sign up, the greater that pool of money is for us to be able to cover the event overhead, which is the venue and everything that goes underneath the venue. And so that's the same thing with the fundraiser. We approach the fundraiser the same as we approach this giant, festival that we do annually. We wanted just to compact it into a smaller event. Although we were not getting the vendor signups or, and just, and this fundraiser, it being a fundraiser, we were charging for tickets. And so normally we have a free public education event. So the fundraiser, we were charging a $25 fee to attend this fundraiser, which is, a nominal and reasonable price for a fundraiser. Though we were not getting signups for vendors or ticket sales. And so I believe that might have been kind of, just really bad timing on our part with everything that was going on across the nation. The government had shut down, food assistance had gone away. And so it left a lot of people during the months of September to November wondering how they were going to get paid. Where was their food coming from? How are they going to pay their bills? How are they going to get medicine? How are they going to kind of traverse this economic climate that we were now facing in these last couple of months? And during those months were the times that we were trying to get, hey, everybody sign up. We need your money for the fundraiser. So unfortunately for us, it looks like, yes, everything is open right now, which is good. Things seem to be flowing, but it's going to be until the end of January. And then February and March are our big, our clutch time to try and get the last signups and to get that last monies in for the event in April. And it looks like we might be in the same thing, in the same cycle again, just nationally and economically looking at it. It's just seemingly going to be that same cycle. So right now we're looking at, okay, so if this happens again, if this is happening again, in January, February, March, how do we approach that? Do we just close the festival? Do we move the festival? What do we do? And right now it's like a game of chess, trying to figure out, like, trying to kind of maneuver in that. So
it is.
The biggest,
It really is, and I can speak to that because we're requesting proposals for 2026 projects, and there's just so much uncertainty on whether should we move forward, or is this going to be an in-house thing where people are like, look, we just can't afford to put out the money like that. We got to kind of be all hands on deck and make this happen. Or do we need to do it at all? I mean, one event that's definitely going to be going on is the Children's VegFest, because we've been building that, and it'll be the 3rd year, and we have a partnership with the Y of Central Maryland. Yeah. So partnerships are very important because there is strength in numbers, and the more partners that you have engaged, the more help you can get. So let's talk about the Federation of Vegan Festivals and how you think that can help, because we had Philly Veg Fest this year. We had, well, let's start with Philly Veg Fest. We had Black Veg Fest. We had a veggie taste in Atlanta. Vegan Soul Fest partnered with Black Veg Fest in August, and now we have Texas Veg Fest coming up. What are you looking for from the Federation? How do you think it can help and prepare you and your festival to do what you have to do? And let's talk about that, and let us know how people can best connect with you and help you make the 11th Texas Veg Fest even bigger and better than ever before.
Yes. So first thing with the Federation is, like, what a safety net, what a community, what a support system that is. Again, as I mentioned earlier, planning these things can be very isolating. You can be very alone. You just feel like your computer is your only friend in the world. And then you're questioning yourself, am I doing this right? Like, will people like me? Will people like this? Is this something that the people are going to support? Is anyone else going through this in the world? And then here comes the Federation, and it's like, boom, yes, 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 yes. And so that has been, I think, the biggest support and the most help, I think, is just to have this team of individuals that understand the ups and downs, the roller coasters of planning a vegan event, and circumstances that are sometimes seemingly insurmountable, and yet get it done. The Veggie Taste, we were just there in September. They were doing 15 years. Black Veg Fest, I think they just celebrated their 8 years. And so, I think all of us combined together have like 50 years of experience in doing festivals, which is wild. So that's a lot of, incredible.
Yes.
It's a wealth of information. And just weird knowledge that not everybody knows, I guess. And like just weird, like, food permit knowledge and things of that nature. So that has been incredible. And the individuals that are in the Federation right now are amazing. Like Wally, we had him in, I think, 2014 as a presenter. Everyone still talks about his presentation to this day. And, just meeting him and having him there. And that was just such a pivotal change for us, because in the years prior, I think a lot of people wanted us to go more of a convention route, soccer mom kind of aspect. And that I don't know if we'd still be around if we took that route, because that is a very expensive route. And so we chose a more communal route, and that was kind of around the timeline that we switched over to, like, no, this is what we're going to do. And having, like, the support from Wally and other individuals like Andy Howell, who was from Seattle, that was, like, pivotal in that moment, to try and focus more on communities that are overlooked whenever you're thinking about veganism. And so this organization, this federation that Wally was basically like, hey, let's get this together, has been such a breath of fresh air, and this support, and trying to figure out, like, what are we doing? Are we doing the right thing? Where are we? Is anyone else feeling these struggles? So that has been number one, is just the support that everybody in the Federation offers. Outside of that support, volunteering, providing, we have the venue is basically like this open canvas. And so we have opportunities for everything. We have opportunities for art installations. We have opportunity for workshops. We have opportunities for, one of the things that Wally did was, like, he spoke about fitness and had everyone, be out there trying to be a champ like him, and so there's all kinds of opportunities there at the venue, because it's just this big open field, which is like a big open slate. So what I've seen in the Philly Veg Fest, the Black Veg Fest, and Veggie Taste, is that when we come together, we offer support in, areas of volunteering. What is the need at that moment? How can we help in areas that are most needed at the event? Bringing, like, what the Afro Vegan Society and BVS did, which is basically offering volunteer support and workshops at Black Veg Fest. And then, those things help make the event. They help create, atmosphere. They help create buzz. They help create, like, the educational aspect that we're looking at when we're talking about workshops and resources, printed resources, even like online resources, like BVS offers, the holiday meals and how to budget those holiday meals. We like to highlight those things. We like to print out those things. We like to have them for people to take home with them the day of our event, so they know this is how I can incorporate more plant-based products into my life right now as I'm leaving this event. So when we look at the Federation, all the things that the individuals offer in the Federation, there's so much. There's behind the scenes with, volunteer support and, basically organizational support. There's the front of house kind of area where they, providing workshops, providing presentations, panels. Like, we've done panels at the Black Veg Fest when we spoke, just about us and what we were doing. All of those things.
Funding and trying to collaboratively come together to share funding resources or band together and present proposals to get the funding resources, because it does cost to travel and support everyone in their events. So just stating the case where this is helpful, BIPOC organizations and events don't get the type of support that they should get, like other festivals and organizations. And if not us banding together and helping each other, then who? Adrienne, I'm looking forward to getting out there to Austin. I love going to Texas. My sister and my mom are in Texas, so definitely love traveling out there, and looking forward to doing it again in 2026. How can we best connect with you and the Texas Veg Fest? Let us know what you need. Do your call out now.
Yeah, so our signups are open for all levels. We definitely need volunteer support. So if you're looking to volunteer in the months ahead, the weeks before, the day of, the evening of, with breakdown of the festival, you can go to our website now, texasvegfest.com /sign up. So texasvegfest.com/sign up. You can look and see there's all kinds of things to sign up for. You can sign up to be a volunteer, a vendor, a sponsor. So volunteer support is necessary. And then, of course, again, one of our main sources of income is sponsor and vendor signups, nonprofit signups, etc. And we are accepting signups right now. And so if you can sign up, that would be great. I know it's a weird time to be wanting to, put your money into something like this. But that's how we make our money. We get our volunteer signups to help us run the event, and then we get our sponsor and vendor signups to help cover some of that overhead. The other things that we do to help cover our overhead is by public donations. And so if you are looking and you're like, oh, I would love to support this event, but I'm not going to be in Austin, I'm not going to be able to do this, TexasVegFest.com/donate. That is our donation page. Feel free to send us $5, and that goes a long way. We're so appreciative of that, especially considering we had to cancel our fundraiser. Any type of contribution that you can make is helpful. We do not want to start putting a price tag on Texas VegFest. We want to keep offering this free resource to the public because the public continues to tell us that they need and want it. And so if we don't meet the funds, and to host a VegFest, it's about $50,000 a year. And so if we don't make that mark, then we're going to have to start making adjustments. We're going to have to start putting a price tag on the festival. We're going to have to maybe move the festival to a smaller venue, or the worst case scenario, we're going to have to just not have the festival. So going to the website, signing up to volunteer, signing up to participate as a vendor, a speaker, a workshop, a musician, a sponsor, etc., and then signing up to donate. Those are the three best ways that can help support us and to ensure that A, we continue to exist, and B, we continue to be a free public resource to everyone.
Thank you for that, Adrienne. And then this is the event site, right? Still, I got it from 2025, so that's the same site. So folks,
exactly,
TexasVegFest.com, sign up, show your support. As far as it goes for in our region here in Baltimore, stay tuned, because it all depends on, what the climate looks like.
Yep.
Children's Veg Fest is definitely going to be in effect. We don't have all the details with that. Maryland MD Vegan Eats is going to be in effect. There will be other projects and programs coming into play, and just stay tuned and follow us at Black Veg Society. Follow me at Naijha Speaks, and you will stay abreast on what is going on in terms of the Federation of Vegan Festivals and all the collaborative festivals they're engaged in that, and any other work that we're doing under Black Veg Society. So we appreciate you again, Adrienne, for coming on. Folks, again, go to TexasVegFest.com, sign up, and you can follow Adrienne and Texas VegFest at Texas VegFest on Instagram and Facebook, right? Just want to make sure I got that right. Awesome. So until we all convene again at the next festival, Adrienne, please stay well, stay blessed. Love you, and talk to you soon. All right.
Yes, right back at you,
everyone. Yes.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Meeting you where you are. The meaning behind the slogan is that we meet the community where they are, on their journey towards holistic health, a plant-based lifestyle, and veganism, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. We do this through people, food, events, and culture. Our 6 pillars are earth, eating, education, empowerment, enlightenment, and events. We are Black Veg Society.